try to have on hand all the time. And then, you know, like this is all the stuff that's pretty much staple, which we just, you know, I just pull out and utilize at any point in time. Quinoa, which is awesome. It's good to rinse it off before you use it. So I just put it in here, give it a quick rinse, and then put it in the pot. And organic quinoa, it's great. I store most of my things in jars. If you store things in jars, they last longer. And nuts, if you store them in the refrigerator, they last even longer, and their freshness, it tastes better. So keeping foods fresh, fresh and delicious, it really makes a difference what food you pick. Because if you're not starting with the proper food, it's not going to taste good. you gotta start with good ingredients, and then good organic ingredients. And I always try to say, it's like, instead of, you know, just buying whatever at this point in time and going out and eating fast food, something easy, something cheap, boxes, easy to grab, that's going to be harder on your health later in the years, it's better to put the money into and invest in your health. So it's like anytime you're buying healthy food, beautiful food, you're investing in your health. And health is the greatest wealth. There was a quote, and it was, you know, it's like if you don't really know the quality of health, it's like ask somebody who's lost it, and they can tell you all about it. I mean, that might be a good thing to do. Go out and ask somebody what they think of health. What is the value of health? I mean, health is a tremendous value, tremendous value. I think it's beautiful and amazing. Some of the examples that we have in this day and age of people who are aging, yet they're still vital and young and full of life and full of energy. Because subconsciously we see other people aging and we say, oh, okay, well, that's what 50 looks like, that's what 60 looks like, that's what 70 looks like, that's what 80 and 90 and 100. So I think we subconsciously condition our bodies and train our bodies to go along in that flow. So if we can like study people who are young, still at 100, like there's this National Geographic article of this 100-year-old water skiing. And I thought, man, that is just awesome. You know, I want to know him. You know, so just, you know, studying people who are young and in their older years, I think that's great, because it would be such a benefit for you, because it would condition your mind to believe that you can continue getting younger as the years go on. I found myself getting kind of starting off, you know, young, and then kind of getting in my 20s and then later, and I kind of like felt like, oh yeah, I'm getting older, you know, and because I was just like kind of still living in the old paradigm. And then I started kind of studying people who were younger in their older years, and I said, oh gosh, you know, I can change my reality. I don't have to grow old. I can grow young. So hey, I'm doing it. Here we go. So let's see, nuts. Oh, we got walnuts, almonds, pecans I don't have on a regular basis, but walnuts and almonds are great to have on hand to make pie crusts and pâtés and all that kind of stuff. Pine nuts are awesome for cheeses and things. Popcorn's always a fun snack. This is just some red quinoa. Mixed wild rice. We don't eat rice that often. We eat more quinoa than we eat rice, but it's good to have on an occasional basis. I think one of the main things with food and health is getting a lot of different things. You don't want to like eat the same thing day in and day out, day in and day out, day in and day out, because you get different. Your body grabs the different nutrients that it needs from all the different things that it finds. And wheat berries. We're going to be making some rejuvelat with some wheat berries. Dates are really good. They have nutrients in them. It's actually amazing. There's all these nutrients in this kind of food. I made this little, because I can't remember it all the time. But like, there's so much nutrients in just natural foods. Let's see. We'll go for almonds. They are a rich source of minerals like manganese, potassium, calcium, iron, magnesium, zinc, selenium, and just a handful of them a day provides enough recommended levels of minerals, vitamins, and protein. Avocados, they contain in excess of 25 essential nutrients, including vitamin A, B, C, K, copper, iron, phosphorus, magnesium, potassium. It's just like all these foods, when you kind of take them apart one by one, you get to see what your body is getting, and the nourishment that, like when you make a raw chocolate pie out of avocado instead of a dairy milk that is actually harming your system and creating an environment for osteoporosis to happen in your later years. It's like you're feeding your body, feeding your cells. And even cacao, cacao flour, or cacao powder. It's just the cocoa beans powdered, and they promote cardiovascular health. They repair and resist damage caused by free radicals. Increases serotonin and endorphins. That's why everybody likes chocolate. And they are rich in a number of essential minerals, including manganese, sulfur, calcium, iron, zinc, copper, potassium, and manganese. Did I say that? Oh, magnesium. Magnesium and manganese. And they are very rich in magnesium. So, and magnesium balances brain chemistry, builds strong bones, and helps regulate heartbeat and blood pressure. There's so much nutrients. The cashews here. Cashews have nutrients too. They have iron, phosphorus, selenium, magnesium, and zinc. And they are a great source of phytochemicals, antioxidants, and they have protein. So when you use cashews instead of milk, you're boosting yourself. And cashews actually have less fat than some of the other nuts too. So it's not quite as rich. Cashews have a lower fat content than most other nuts, and most of it is found in the form of oleic acid, the same heart-healthy monounsaturated fat found in olive oil. Cholesterol-free, high antioxidant content, magnesium, and they're rich in the mineral copper. So it's just like, gosh, I could just go on and on and on with all these things. I'll do a little bit more as we're going through each recipe. I'll bore you with reading all of that, but it just is amazing when you start looking into it. It's like, this is the food, this is the nourishment, these are the nutrients that you're putting into your body on a day in, day out basis. These are the nutrients that I'm putting into my son's life. It's like when he grows up and he's gonna have a sad, depressing day, he's gonna go make a strawberry cheesecake made out of cashews and walnuts and oats and lemons. And he's going to feel better. He's going to go make a green smoothie. So I just love, it's just a passion of mine to put deliciousness into, or nutrients into deliciousness, and deliciousness into nutrients. So we'll definitely go there. We have spirulina, which is one of the things I'll show you later. Just make on a regular basis, just a spirulina acai lemonade. Super easy, super quick, instead of buying the bottled juices. A little bit of spirulina, a little bit of acai, squeeze a lemon, put a little maple syrup in there, and water, and you have a super healthy, super yummy, delicious drink. So throw out the bottled juices. They don't have any nutrient value whatsoever. Acai is awesome. It's one of the highest antioxidants, little acai berries. Greener grasses is one of my favorites. It's got alfalfa in it, which is kind of a fun flavor. Kind of reminds me of horses. I used to always love the smell of horses when I was a kid. So sometimes I'll make like little bliss balls with this and just put it in little bliss balls, or you can make like just put it into some orange juice, have some orange juice and put a little greener grasses in. So it's like there's little techniques that you can use to just weave in that little extra nutrients so that you can feel that vitality and be just vibrating at that higher frequency and just feel divinity. Lucuma is one of the superfoods out there. It's actually a sweetener, or it's a sweet taste. Lucuma is an alternative sweetener that is packed with minerals and vitamins. It's got vitamin 3. And it's actually a popular taste for ice cream in Europe. So make like ice cream pies with it and just put it in. It just makes things really yummy. I'll make bliss balls with it or put it into some yummy smoothies and drinks. And then just probiotics. This is just the regular vegan Suprema Dolphilis. It's just like probiotics from Mana Foods. And we'll see how these work tomorrow. I mean, you can just take them internally, but you can also incorporate them into food. Like I'll incorporate them into yogurt and sea cheeses sometimes, and some drinks that I make. And it doesn't really have any flavor, but it just adds that extra yummy probiotics for your intestines, the good beneficial kind. Keep you healthy. Cacao nibs is just a unrefined version, it's the same thing. The cacao powder and the cacao nibs. I'll use these sometimes in like a raw chocolate chip cookie. It has chocolate chips. And then we have the raw carob, which is an alternative to the chocolate. Aw, thank you. You're sweet. The carob it's a carob pod. It's like a carob bean. And if you don't want the high intensity that chocolate brings you, you can still enjoy something sweet and delicious. And it also is kind of a sweetener on its own. Like you could actually make like little bliss balls, little pies without any sweetener at all. And this would add a little sweetness to it. So if there are people staying away from any sugars at all, this is like your friend. This and stevia. You could make a pie with a little bit of stevia and some raw carob and laguma, and you have a nice sweet treat that tastes sweet, but it's not going to give you sweetness or the sugar. And stevia is one of my friends in the kitchen. It's just a leaf. It's an herb, and they make so many different flavors of it. It's pretty fun. There's a peppermint stevia, Valencia orange, and lemon drop. They're a few of my favorites. You can use them as a sweetener alternative. Like 1 drop is like a teaspoon of sugar. So you can just add, I often like to add multitudes of different flavors, especially in like desserts and sweet treats. So I'll do like a maple syrup, and then I'll put like a few drops of this in there, and maybe even a little palm sugar, a little coconut palm sugar. Just because there's something about when you use the different flavors, because each of the different flavors kind of hits a note on your palate, hits a note on your tongue, that just kind of, it's like either like a full, you know, when you take a bite of a pie, it's either a full note or it's like too high, too sweet, or too low, or something, you know. So if you kind of play with the different flavors, and it, you know, it's kind of like playing the piano or listening to the different notes of your tongue can taste it. And one thing I like to encourage everybody to do is to trust your own palate. Trust what tastes good to you, because if it tastes good to you, it'll probably taste good to everybody else. So if you can just say, does this taste good? It's like, yeah, okay, this tastes really good. Then it's going to taste good to somebody else too. Okay, Irish moss. This is a really fun one. This is one that I use in some little beauty care treatments as well as pies. It has a lot of nutrients as well. I'm going to look this one up because it's pretty fun. Irish moss. There it is, Irish moss. This is also called carrageen, or carrageen. It's a species of seaweed. And it is specifically rich in iodine and sulfur. You can use it cosmetically. When Irish moss is mixed into body lotions, it turns your rough, dry, patchy skin into smooth, silky, hydrated, glowing skin. Irish moss contains vitamins A, B, C, D, and those are all vitamins that nourish the skin. It's also an excellent source of minerals, and is loaded with life-enhancing nutrients such as sulfur compounds, protein, iodine, bromine, beta-carotene, calcium, iron, magnesium, manganese, phosphorus, potassium, selenium, zinc, pectin, B vitamins, and vitamin C. Sulfur-containing amino acids such as taurine are abundant in Irish moss. And taurine is one of those things that you don't really get in a vegan diet, so it's nice to get a little bit of it in seaweed. So it strengthens the connective tissues, including your hair, skin, and nails. So it's like to utilize this instead of cornstarch or something like that you would use to, or tapioca, those little pearls of tapioca. It's like I use chia seeds instead of tapioca, and it's basically the same exact, end result, but super full of health and vitamins. And chia seeds contain omega-3s, which are hard to get. And the fun thing about chia seeds is that you don't have to grind them up. Flax seeds have the omega-3s as well, but if you just eat them, you have to chew them really well to absorb the omega-3s, whereas chia seeds, they just give it to you. So you don't have to chew them that well. You can eat it like a tapioca pudding, and they get this gelatinous, they can absorb 10 times more water than their size. So they're pretty amazing things packed with powerful nutrients. So lots of yummy food. We have some French lentils we'll do some sprouting with, and one pot dish. This is one of my favorite kitchen things. I love to have pumpkins, green pumpkins, in my kitchen because they are beautiful. They are like super orange on the inside, and the kombucha squash is it's got such an amazing flavor. You don't need to add anything to it, and it's like sweet, it's salty, it's a little nutty flavor. It's really incredible. They have so many. I'm sure there's so many nutrient values. They value beta carotene, and the fun thing is you don't really have to cut the skin off either. Yeah, sometimes I do. If I'm like doing something really fancy. But at home, I try to incorporate most of the nutrients that I can. And one way that I do that is I leave the skin on most things, which also makes your kitchen time a lot easier. It's like the skin on the apples is red, and just leave it on there, and it's got your nutrient values. The skin on the potatoes, leave it on there, it's got some nutrient values too. The skin in lemons and oranges, the zest, is full of vitamin C and other amazing nutrients, and the pith, the white pith, it's good to take that off and utilize that too. So a lot of times when I'm doing cashew cheesecakes, banana cream pie, or cheesecakes of any fresh berries, anything like that, I'll cut off the pith and the skin and incorporate that into the cheesecake as well. Let's see, what do we have up here? Miso. Miso is also a probiotic in itself. It has a lot of yummy things in there. So you can make in fact, I'll give you an example of just how easy and quick it is to make a simple soup. It's mostly raw. Like when I was doing like 100% raw, one thing that I would do is I would chop up a whole bunch of vegetables and fresh herbs and put it in a bowl. Put a little scoop of the miso in there, a little drizzle of raw tahini, and a little sprinkle of nutritional yeast. And then I just pour hot water over it and let it sit there for a couple minutes. And then it would be like eating a delicious, yummy, like fully cooked soup. I was like, wow, this is great on those cold days when you're trying to be raw, but you still want something warm. So I would do that, and I still do it now because it's such a quick, easy way to make a dinner. And it's good to have a lot of raw vegetables in your diet, and it's good to have a little bit of cooked too. So anyway, miso, and this is one thing that we'll utilize too for making some of the probiotic foods, like the kimchi. We'll put a little starter of this in it because it's got the good probiotics in it. So we'll start some of those things. And if you add it in, I add it to the seed cheeses as well. So we'll go over that a little bit more as time goes on. This is cashew butter. They didn't have any raw almond butter, which is my favorite. I've actually never tried the cashew butter, but I'm sure it's really good. so we brought it to try. And the sea salts. The regular table salt, I'm sure everybody probably knows this already, but the regular table salt is just like refined sugar. It's not good for your body, whereas the sea salt is just the salt water from the sea dehydrated in the sunshine. So, and it just contains minerals and vitamins. Let's see. Hand harvested and dried by the sun and wind. Like in other salts, they have like anti-caking and bleaching agents. It's amazing what people put into foods that we don't even know is in there, right? We're eating all these things, we don't even have any idea what it is. So it's like consumer beware, buyer beware. So it's super important to know what you're putting into your body. I always read the ingredients on everything. So let's see, this contains potassium, magnesium, and some other stuff too. So anyways, Celtic sea salt, good one. These are just the Hunza, golden Hunza raisins from Mana. They're super yummy. They're like jelly beans. You can use regular raisins too, but these are like, they're more expensive. They're $9.25 a pound, but they're like really good. I use a little almond extract, organic almond extract. This is a organic vanilla. This is an organic Mexican vanilla. It's coumarin free. It's from Mexico. My friend who goes to Mexico, and she always brings me back some Mexican vanilla. So thank you. Actually, order it on a bulk basis. So that's good stuff. This Umawashi plum vinegar, plum vinegar, is actually one of my tips and tricks in the kitchen. And it has in itself, it has so many flavors. It's sweet, it's salty, it just kind of hits so many parts of the palate that it's just incredible. So, I mean, you can I make salad dressings with just olive oil and that, and a little toasted sesame seeds or toasted sunflower seeds, and it's amazing how delicious it is. A lot of times, what I find in food prep is like, the simpler it is, it's like the more delicious it is. So it's kind of like, it's kind of a balance of not doing too much, you know? It's like if you just buy the healthy, organic, delicious foods and don't do too much to it, just eat it as it is, and then it's really delicious. Kalamata olives are one of my favorites to have on hand. Make little spelt bread, like olive, onion, rosemary, biscuits. There's this woman from Italy, when she came and she visited where we were at, and she's like, oh yeah, I've been growing up, I grew up and my mom just made bread. And I was like, with no recipe? I was like, with no recipe? She's like, yeah, with no recipe, like, of course. And so I was like, I just followed her around and said, okay, you know, every time she does anything in the kitchen, I would follow her around and learn her little techniques. So, you can make, like, I mean, she used the yeast that rises, which kind of takes a little bit more time. And so I've come up with my own kind of healthier version. This is a whole spelt flour. It's not wheat flour, but it's almost like the same thing. So this is a spelt flour, which is mostly gluten-free. There are some people who are allergic to gluten who don't eat spelt either. But my husband is allergic to gluten, and he does totally fine. If he eats wheat, he gets like stuffed up and cold type symptoms for a week afterwards. You can eat spelt with no problems. So it has a lot less gluten in it than wheat does. And you can utilize it the exact same way. So what I'll do is I'll just take a little flour, a little baking powder, aluminum-free baking powder, and a little dash of olive oil. We'll make one of these to show you. A little maple syrup or palm sugar, and you can make pancakes. It's just like pancakes or these breads with olive oil with olives and onions and rosemary, and they're just so delicious. And so, anyways, we'll make some of those, and we'll serve them with some yummy soup. Cardamom seeds, yummy delicious cardamom seeds. Another type of olives. We have sesame seeds. Sesame seeds are great. They contain calcium. So if anybody's worried about not getting enough calcium or just getting more calcium into their diet to make their bones stronger, sesame seeds are awesome. And I definitely believe in trying not to toast things or cook things as much as possible, but I also really do love to make food delicious. And I know sometimes like the taste of just like a lightly toasted sesame seed on top of a salad just like adds that extra dimension of deliciousness. So, I figure, 90% raw food is a really good, amazing health vitality. And you can add a little delicious treats every now and then. Like I'll make a raw, a raw chocolate chip cookie and put a little, just the dark chocolate chips in there. So it's like you get the melt in your mouth chocolate chips instead of the cacao, and it just kind of gives you that whole other dimension of like, wow, this is really a chocolate chip cookie, instead of like, oh, this is a raw thing, well, this is a raw thing, it's probably healthy for me. It's like, no, this is really good. So that's what I want to share with everybody. Maple syrup. Maple syrup, actually, I want to read you the health value of maple syrup. Amazingly enough, something sweet and delicious, and something, if you get the Aunt Jemima one, that's got totally corn syrup in it, and it's really bad for you. But if you get the natural, beautiful, it's maple syrup, it's rich in vitamins and minerals. So let's see, antioxidants and calcium. Does anybody know there was calcium in maple syrup? That's amazing. Maple syrup contains 20 unique health-promoting compounds, 13 of which have never been before identified in maple syrup. So anyways, there's this article on maple syrup. They found other beneficial compounds, antioxidants which have antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties, which have been shown to fight cancer, diabetes, and bacterial illnesses. So even though it's a sweet thing, it actually fights bacterial illness, which is really cool. It's easier for our bodies to digest whole foods. And especially even the fiber that's in whole foods, it acts as a broom through the intestines, which is very important. And the fiber is actually kind of a magnet that pulls toxins as well. So when we eat the white flours, like white flour you can actually use as a paste. Anybody made paste out of white flour when they were in kindergarten? You can actually hang wallpaper with white flour. With whole wheat flour, it won't stick. You can't hang it up there. So it's amazing, and it does the same thing in your intestines. If you eat white flour products, it's like glue. It's like pouring glue and eating glue into your intestines, which is definitely going to hinder you from absorbing your nutrients that your body needs. Dates, nutritional yeast. This is a fun one, vitamin B12, and it's kind of got a cheesy flavor, and it's just one of those nutrient-dense foods. This is one thing I have on hand, kind of on a regular basis, because especially when you have kids around, they always want something. They always want something really fast and sweet, and so shredded coconut, and I'll teach you how to do these, like little bliss balls. You can make like any kind of bliss ball and put all kinds of superfoods in there, cacao and spirulina and maca and lucuma, and so it's like really fun to just make a little raw almond butter, or we'll do the raw cashew, and just basically put a little maple syrup and just make a yummy cream, and then add some of this, and it thickens it up, and then roll it into the balls, or roll the balls into it, and you have these cute little bliss balls that the kids call cake balls. Can we have some more of those cake balls? So sure, of course you can have some more of the cake balls. These are spring roll wrappers, which are fun to use. I'll teach you how to use those when we do spring rolls. Sun-dried tomatoes are awesome to have on hand. I like the dehydrated ones too. They stay. I guess these stay too. But if you want to make a quick, like little marinara sauce or something, just throw some sun-dried tomatoes and whole fresh tomatoes, and just some herbs, and you've got it. I think it's important to get the ones without the sulfur. You always got to look at what you're buying, because a lot of the stuff like this contains the sulfur or the sulfur. I forgot what it's called, but it's some kind of a preservative. Thank you. Like, what is that called? Yeah, I forgot what it is called, but it's always good to read what you got, what you're putting into your body. Coconut oil. It's good to get the raw virgin coconut oil, cold pressed. I like the one from Earth Circle Organics. It's yummy. We'll be making some raw chocolate out of that.